So a couple of months ago when we first arrived, literally on our first day, somebody went into the back of us and bashed into the wagon. So we're staying at my mate York's house. All right, York, say hello to the camera.
Hi.
And we're staying at his house for a couple of days to see if we can do a few jobs. And him and Gary are just taking off the plastic that we had on there. It doesn't look like it's too easy to come off, Gary, does it?
No, it's really difficult. It's very sticky.
Well, actually, this is called Eternal Bond. And this is called Eternal Bond for a reason. You can't get it off.
So here Jorg is looking for the best place to put the fiberglass reinforcing paste. He needs to know that before he mixes it, because once he adds that hardener, he's literally got about 5 to 10 minutes to actually put it on there to smooth it into the shape he wants before it then is impossible to move.
So what are you mixing there, Jorg?
This is the hardener.
Okay, so
now it will be mixed. And now what happens now is chemistry.
okay.
So
A little bit of magic.
magic, exactly.
And how long does this take? You've only got a little while, I take it.
It will take about an hour to cure.
Right. And we're quite lucky because the weather's not raining at the moment.
Yes. That's right.
Does the weather have a big effect on this? The hotter the better, or is there a point where it's too hot?
No, it creates its own heat now. It's a chemical reaction. So let's see if I can take this a little bit of that and then
And what is this stuff, Gary?
It's a fiberglass reinforcer.
It will look ugly for... See, this is what I want to do. This is just put it in there.
So here Jorg is using a coarse sandpaper to sand down the reinforcing paste now that it's gone hard. What this will do is expose holes and cracks that we need to fill with the auto body filler. After the initial sanding, which exposed the holes and the cracks, we've now put on the body filler, which you can see here. So now some more sanding to see if we can expose
all these
any
fragments here.
Yeah.
I left them in, and here you can see this one while I sanded it off. So I left them in and squeezed the compound into this structure, so now it became one piece again. So I used these fragments to stabilize the entire thing again.
Sanding off this bit, it's really starting to look different. So where are we at with it now, Gary?
Okay, so after the sanding of the fiberglass hardener and then the body filler, there were still some little bits of fiberglass that were poking through. So what we've done now is put some Weld on it, which is literally another hardening compound, which is the black stuff you see there. That will then enable us to sand it even smoother, and then once it's sanded smooth, it'll be ready for painting. So after all the sanding, which started off with a coarse grit and then worked our way up to a wet and dry 1500 grit sandpaper, we're ready to tape up, ready for painting. Not forgetting, of course, the reversing sensor, which you can see here, because obviously we don't want to paint over that. Reversing sensor, and then the last 4 things I've got to do is I've got to put the
looks good so far.
reflector back on, these 2 rubber strips back on, and then last but not least the matching GB sign.
Perfect.
So here we are. The finished product, as you can see, is 100% better than it was. Now solid, painted, and ready to hit the road again, bar a few little things that I'm going to do later on. However, before we get into it, what I would like to say that I was very much a helper on this whole process, and Jorg was the one who did all the work. So thank you very much, Jorg. We could not have done this without you. So thanks. But just to recap the process then, what went on. So you can see by the before pictures that there was large cracks and actually holes in here that was caused by that vehicle hitting it. So the first thing we did was we took all the tape off and then got rid of all the sticky stuff that had been temporarily holding it. Once that was clear and clean, what Jorg did was Jorg used some fiberglass reinforcing paint, or paste rather, and what he did was he squeezed it in between the gaps so that it grabbed the back and the front of each of those pieces, and then effectively meant that it was a solid piece again. Once that happened, we sanded that bit down, which still left holes, which we were expecting, and then we filled those holes with body filler, just normal auto car body filler. Once that was done, another sanding, followed by a final bit where we put the JB Weld just to fill in some smaller holes. That was then sanded to a smooth finish. Once that was done, it was taped up and then painted. And then once it was painted and dried, we then managed to put these little bits and pieces back on. So here's the finished product, and the man behind the magic, Jorg. As I said, I was the helper. Jorg and his expertise did all the work. We are very, very happy with it. And it's, yeah, well, we are, Jorg. We really are. And that's put us in good stead for the rest of our trip. Thank you very much.
It was a pleasure for me.
Well, I really appreciate it, buddy. Thank you. So, all the products we used, we've recommended some similar products below in the text. So if you want to do the same job, those products will do exactly what we've done.